G'day guys, Rukshania. Thanks for joining me for the news vlog. Yesterday I said I'll show you guys where I am in Ballarat. So this is a very cool spot that I'm staying around, and as you can see, it's a beautiful part of regional Victoria. But I'm not doing a travel vlog, I promise you. I am doing news stories still. Today I'll be talking about what's happening in Haiti. Is there actually cannibalism or isn't there cannibalism happening? Because the media is telling two different stories depending on the type of media you watch. As well, TikTok is being discussed in a manner of being banned in the US. Should it also be banned in Australia? And what's really going on there? Because, a lot of people, when they talk about TikTok, we think of the CCP, the Communist Party. And, even myself, sometimes I think, yeah, maybe we should ban TikTok. But is it really the right thing to do in this instance? Also, the coalition, the Liberal coalition, federally are proposing changes to laws to make it criminal to put up videos of crimes being committed. Now, what does that actually mean? So I'll be discussing that as well, and a whole heap of other stories. But first up, I need to jump into my canoe. Is it a canoe? I think it's a canoe. I'm going to jump into my canoe and head off before I do the news story later today. Bye. All right, guys, let's get straight into it. First up is this news from Canada, where police authorities are telling homeowners there that if people are coming to their house to rob them and most likely take their car, the best thing that they can do in terms of advice the police can give the public is to leave the keys, the car fobs, at the front of the house, readily accessible for the thieves to come and take the vehicles. Now, this is because they're saying these thieves that often come, the criminals, they're heavily armed, and it could put your life in danger because all they want is the car. So if you have it at the front of the house, they take the keys and they go. Now, when I first saw this story, I thought, is this happening in Australia, or how long before this is a usual common advice that will be given by the Victoria Police, for instance, in my state of Victoria, because we do have rampant crime, a lot of thefts at homes, and a lot of cars being stolen at the moment. And when I put this up on social media, a lot of people actually messaged me and said, hey, this is the advice that the police in Victoria are already giving. And I dug a little bit into this, and I found around 2018 to 2021, the police were saying the opposite, to have your car keys hidden away in a secure area. There were some articles around this that the police were giving this type of advice. But something changed from 2022 to 2023 and now this year. And a lot of the advice, it seems like the police are pretty much just saying, hey, look, we can't do anything about this. To protect yourselves, especially as these criminals now have machetes and weapons when they're coming into your house, the best thing that you can do is to leave your car keys at the front of the house and hope they just come in, take the keys and leave, because that's all they want. So let's have a listen to see what the Canadian authorities are saying.
There's also updated advice for all vehicle owners, a message echoed by Toronto Police speaking at an Etobicoke safety meeting last month. Constable Marco Ricciardi had a new message for vehicle owners who keep their fobs in Faraday pouches.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door, because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
That's why Galinsky says they will.
So I just want to just comment on that advice. They're saying if you have a car fob or a car key in a Faraday pouch, now these Faraday pouches or these cases that you can get for modern cars, it stops the signals from the car keys being sent outside, especially when these new age criminals are using these tech devices to replicate the signals that these remotes are giving out, to put it in the most simplest terms. Now, this policeman is saying, if you have a nice car or a modern car parked out in front of your place in Canada, don't even put it in the Faraday pouch. Just leave the key out there so they can replicate the key or whatever from outside the house and steal the key. Or even if they come into the house, they can just take the keys and go. Now, it's crazy because, in Canada and Australia, of course, I'm pretty sure in Canada as well, people, when it comes to self-defense, having a weapon to defend themselves, or if a criminal comes to your house with a weapon, there's not much you can do. So there is that aspect to all of this. But it does feel like the police around the world, especially in the West, are leaving it up. Really, it's the homeowner's fault. You can't defend your car. You can't defend your property. If these criminals want to come to your house, they want to take your car, then go for it. They can do that. And it's almost like an invitation now to thieves, if this becomes the norm in terms of how this advice is given, that yes, we can just go into this house and most likely the keys will be at the front of the house. Let me know what you guys think of this. I actually wanted to bring that up as my first story because I'm collating people's experiences with this. And like I said, a lot of people have told me that the police have actually directly advised them of this, especially after they've responded to a car theft or a violent car theft. and they've given this advice. Next up, guys, the story I was talking about in my intro around what's happening in Haiti right now. Now, Haiti for a long time has had all types of issues. In particular, these issues seem to have some sort of direct correlation with issues or individuals in the US as well, whether it's the Clintons and their involvement in Haiti, or whether it's, when there's like disasters in Haiti, like earthquakes and so on, other agencies being involved. I know there's been issues with the UN and peacekeepers there as well, involved in some type of sexual grooming or trading of young minors. So there's been all types of issues happening in Haiti for a long time. And the latest violence on the streets, almost, I guess, descending into some type of civil war almost, well, pretty much it is, especially in the city, has brought about a new type of issue for people in the West in terms of how the issue is covered. Because right now we're seeing a migrant crisis in the US, or an illegal migrant crisis, where a lot of people are coming through the southern border there. Hundreds of thousands of people, unchecked, unverified, just, being let in through. You can go to the airport and have your passport checked, patted down. When you try to go to a country, especially the US, it's very hard to get there legally. You got to get all types of visas and forms to get there. But if you cross the southern border, no checking. And rightly, many people right now in the US are concerned about what they're seeing in Haiti with these gangs and, authorities and police fighting each other out in the streets. Lots of people dying. And they're concerned about people coming across the border. And one of those concerns really goes to the fact that some of these gang individuals seems to be involved in very depraved acts of cannibalism. Now, that's been brought up by many commentators, that there is these videos circulating of acts of cannibalism in Haiti. Now, some people are saying some of these videos are old, some people saying they're new, some people saying they're propaganda. I don't think it really matters. There is this documented evidence of cannibalism occurring. And I know there's more issues than that going on right now in Haiti, but I just wanted to touch on this because the media is covering this in a very interesting way, saying that but the mere fact that, commentators, especially in the US, are talking about issues like cannibalism when it relates to Haiti is dehumanizing the people of Haiti. And the reason that they're dehumanizing them is to stop them from coming across the border and to enforce stricter border controls, and pretty much saying that this is a Republican issue that they're flaring up to help Donald Trump win the election. I mean, this is the extent and the lengths that these people are going when it comes to this issue in Haiti. So this is from The Economist. Who is Jimmy Barbecue Teresa, Haiti's most prominent gang leader? So the guy right now that's the gang leader, I believe the prime minister or the president has also resigned. He's hiding away somewhere. And this is a guy called Barbecue. And so you have all these gangs out there. You have cannibal gangs apparently as well. And I'm going to read this article from the NBC News, which aims to debunk the stories about cannibalism. But when you start reading the article, they don't really debunk it. They actually confirm that there is cannibalism, but they're saying, oh, it's not something to be concerned about. It's very rare, or it's propaganda. So let's have a read of this article. Elon Musk and right-wing influencers use cannibal claims to smear Haitian migrants amid crisis. As Haiti faces an extreme political and societal crisis amid a wave of intense violence, tech billionaire Elon Musk and right-wing pundits online are weaponizing unverified claims of cannibalism coming out of the conflict to advance a political agenda on immigration. Musk and conservative influencers have spread the message to millions, smearing Haitian migrants as cannibals as they endure deep uncertainty about the future of their country and family members still there. The claims are getting tens of millions of views on social media platform X, where false or misleading information has spread since Musk brought the app and / content moderation. They are so butthurt about Elon Musk purchasing Twitter. You can see it in the way that they write these articles. Many of the people spreading the sensational claims are premium subscribers on X, meaning their content can make them money through advertising sales. Again, going after Musk and the advertisers. The accusation of widespread cannibalism are based on what experts said was likely an intimidation tactic from select gang members. In some videos, the most prominent examples being at least 2 years old, alleged members of violent gangs in Haiti appear to bite into human flesh. Experts said that these videos are likely part of a propaganda campaigns designed to scare rivals and terrorize local Haitians rather than a reflection of common or normalized behavior. One former armed group went by the name Cannibal Army. So, I mean, if you just read that as it is, it appears that the experts are confirming that there is an army group called Cannibal Army. Now, they're saying they do it for propaganda and it doesn't represent the whole of the Haitian population. I don't think I've seen anyone saying that all Haitians are cannibals. That's not what's been happening when it comes to this. And I've watched some of these cannibal videos where this guy, apparently from the barbecue gang, one of the members, eating someone's leg as they're burning the corpse on the street. Like, these are twisted examples and videos that are out there, and the experts are saying, well, it's propaganda to scare people. And it could be a form of propaganda, but they're actually eating flesh and eating people, and there is instances of cannibalism, and there's groups called the Cannibal Army. So these kind of fact checks and debunking that they're doing right now on this story is completely ridiculous. It doesn't go to the point whatsoever. And I don't think, all of this seems to be an attack on conservatives and mainly on Elon Musk and X for actually having these type of videos being circulated, because you want the people to know that if you're getting unverified, unvetted illegal migrants crossing the southern border, yes, it's possible that some of them could be cannibals. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility when you're seeing these type of things happening. So, you should have a more stricter process at the border. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you seen these videos of cannibals in Haiti? I can't post those videos on these platforms, unfortunately, but they are there. You can go to X and you can find them if you wanted to see for yourself if this is actually happening. There is plenty of evidence of it, even though the media and the experts are currently trying to play it down. Next story, guys, is around TikTok. Now, TikTok, it's been something that I've discussed previously as well, and it's been, uncomfortable company in the sense of its links to China and the CCP. It's very hard to detach those two when you know exactly how much control the CCP in China has over companies that operate from China and tech companies. And this is a country that largely bans foreign companies from running their social media platforms. For instance, they have their own flavor of almost everything, and because of the West, we're so open. Having a Chinese platform in Australia or the US is not so much out of the realm of the our laws. We allow for those type of things to happen, and there's always been growing concerns about the power of TikTok, especially because so many people use it, so many young people use it, and the way that the data is stored and collected. And there's lots of reasons that people might dislike TikTok, and I have my reasons as well, but it's also a very engaging source of social media. And I think a large majority of people under the age of 30 also consume types of news through platforms like TikTok. So, in terms of impacting young minds and, influencing people, it could have potential there to do it, and a lot of people have been worried about that as well. So what is this TikTok ban that the US, especially pushed by the Democrats, Joe Biden, even the Republicans largely support it? Why is this happening? So let's just quickly read this ABC article and I'll give you some more thoughts on this. Social media platform TikTok is facing a potential ban in the United States if its Chinese owner does not sell the platform, as a bill passes the House of Representatives and makes its way to the Senate. The House passed a bill that would give the short video app's Chinese owner ByteDance about 6 months to divest its US assets or face a ban. The bill overwhelmingly passed 35265 with bipartisan support just a week after it was first introduced, but it faces a more uncertain path in the Senate where some favor a different approach to regulating foreign-owned apps, posing security concerns. President Joe Biden said he wants the Democrat-controlled Senate to take swift action, with the White House ready to provide technical assistance related to any potential changes to the legislation. Senators are expressing an openness to the bill, but suggested they do not want to rush ahead. TikTok is used by about 170 million Americans, around half of the country's entire population. So, I mean, this is turning into somewhat of a contentious issue. A lot of young Americans are writing into their members of their Congress or the House, Senate, and saying that they do not want this ban to go ahead, and telling them how much TikTok is a part of their life. So will this ban actually get into place? I think it looks like it's going that way. And there's also discussions now with the opposition here in Australia urging the Albanese Labor government to also pursue a similar ban here. It's already banned, I believe, for politicians to use in their Senate offices or in Parliament grounds or in their work devices. So there's already those kind of bans in place in Australia and the US. But the concern really here is, even though there is these concerns with about what the CCP might be involved in, the broader concern for many people who are discussing issues around free speech and control is that these type of laws which are being put through now don't only just target TikTok. They could potentially be used against other companies in the West to play the government's game. And the other issue is that getting rid of something like TikTok, which is owned by the CCP, yes, whatever, but then you give more power to a company like Zuckerberg's Meta, which Donald Trump has raised recently as well, as being a problem. Because those companies, a lot of people feel that the US government has a lot of control over. And if you ask people like myself who've seen what Meta and what's the other social media, or Twitter in the past, what they've been involved in, especially during the COVID era, you saw how lockstep they were with the government in pushing through certain narratives. And perhaps there is a idea that TikTok cannot be controlled in that same way, and that is really the push by the US government at the moment, and even by some governments here in Australia, like the coalition. The push is really to allow for governments to have more control of the operations and the content and those kind of things which are being propagated on TikTok. Now, there are some people who are saying that this is a Zionist plot, and because TikTok is showing footage of what's happening in Gaza right now, and there's some sort of plot unraveling here that they want to ban TikTok to stop that from being shown to the world. But just to that, I would say that this TikTok bans have been discussed now for almost 5 years, during the Trump administration as well. It's always been centered around the fact that they're worried about data being harvested by the Chinese and just how much influence the Chinese will have within the US when it comes to the ability to have news and all these kind of things moderated based on what the Chinese appetite is. So it's always been that concern. And if you go to X, you can find plenty of uncensored videos coming out right now from what is happening there in Gaza. So I don't play into all of that. I think this is a totally different issue, and this is more about governments, particularly the US government, trying to gain control of what is becoming a very influential app, especially amongst the younger generations. Let me know what your thoughts are. Albanese has said that declares Australia doesn't follow other countries when asked whether its government will follow the United States by legislating a ban on TikTok. Complete nonsense. Australia follows other countries plenty of the time. Albanese is just talking crap. You have Peter Dutton, who's asking for the TikTok ban. And Donald Trump, some people are saying he's flip-flopped on it as well, because previously he's been very strict on TikTok in terms of being harsh on the CCP links there and asking for certain bans or restrictions on TikTok. Now he's loosened up his rhetoric a little bit, and he's saying that Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, is as dangerous because he believes these individuals also interfere in US elections. So there's a lot going on there. Do you use TikTok? Again, I use TikTok sometimes, very reluctantly, but I just put my content on there. I think I'm of a different generation. I haven't really got my head around all of it yet, but there's a lot of people that use TikTok. Next up, guys, the story I wanted to talk about is this law that's being endorsed by Trudeau in Canada, back to Canada, which could imprison people for life for speech crimes. That's right. That's the law that's being proposed and backed by Justin Trudeau. This is in the New York Post. A Canadian law that aims to make social media platforms safer is getting flack for what some decry as government overreach. Introduced late last month, the Online Harm Act, or Bill C-63, would allow judges to imprison adults for life if they advocate for genocide. Now, that seems reasonable perhaps to some, but the law would also allow a provincial judge to impose house arrest and fine if there were reasonable grounds to believe a defendant will commit an offence, a provision Wall Street Journal columnist Michael Toub likened to the 2002 film The Minority Report. Margaret Atwood, author of The Handmaid's Tale, has criticised the bill as Orwellian. If this account of the bill is true, the letters decatch all over again. The possibilities for revenge, false accusations, thought crimes stuff are so inviting. Trudeau's Orwellian online harms bill, Atwood wrote on Twitter. So I'm not trying to downplay genocide and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, if someone is advocating for that online, authorities need to be looked at. This individual needs to be looked at. But life in prison, life in jail, and then for thoughts or having these kind of views. I think that's problematic because it can start with something like, oh, he's advocating for genocide, and then those same things can be used for, oh, look, he's advocating for dissent against government on these lockdown measures. And we saw glimpses of that in Canada already, right? Remember during the truckers convoy, what was Trudeau doing? He was not trying to, he was freezing the bank accounts of Canadian truckers who were protesting. So this stuff is not without precedent, and the fact that it's trying to normalize it through the law shows you, especially compared to what I was talking about before with TikTok and the other social media companies, that this is the next battle for many of us in the future, this digital information battle, where it's around protecting our free speech from government overreach, because the governments want to have as much control as they can over your lives online, and over the companies that provide you those services. This tussle needs to be challenged at every point. So this development in Canada is quite concerning, if you ask me. Next up, guys, back to Australia. We have heavily armed anti-terror police will be deployed to Rundle Mall, this is in Adelaide, in a bid to curb the recent spate of attacks on retail workers. In the past few days, one shoplifter has bashed a store manager with a stool, while another one brandished an axe. Again, I'm going back and forth here, back to the crime wave that we're seeing around our country. And it's so bad in Adelaide that they've had to deploy the anti-terror police into shopping centres to keep things in check. So I thought that was quite an interesting development. On that same note, the opposition leader, Peter Dutton, a lot about Peter Dutton today. He's pushing for laws to target social media videos that glamorize crime. So this is like sometimes, when these young criminals, especially when they steal a car, when they break into someone's house, when they beat someone up, they actually film it and put it online to garner likes and interactions, and it's a part of their whole thing. Like, look, the crime is actually a social media trend sometimes. So a lot of these kids are doing this type of social media posting of their criminal acts. And what Peter Dutton wants to do is to make that a criminal offense to put up footage like that glamorizes crime. So I don't believe this one, in as far as I can tell, infringes on the ability of individuals who are critiquing these type of videos or discussing crime to continue to do that for news purposes or purposes of, obviously sharing with the community that this happened in my community. I do believe that this is really targeted around these individuals who commit these crimes and then put these videos up, and so for them to, not as the incentive to de-incentivize for them to do that, to have also a prison sentence attached to any social media post. Let me know what you think. Again, like I said, with a lot of these laws that maybe sound good on paper, in practice, does it actually end up infringing on more of our rights? Like, that's always a balance that we have to be worried about. And when I see these type of laws being discussed, that's always what I'm worried about, is that the use case scenario is very narrow right now, but will it be expanded, right? Will it become to a fact where, what I was doing during the pandemic as an independent journalist, filming the lockdown protest. Now, they were saying that was illegal. They were shooting people with rubber bullets, but I was filming that and putting that online as a news item so people can be informed. Does that glamorize, a crime? Is that going to be made illegal? So that's always the thing that you've got to be worried about with these type of laws which are being proposed. Let me know what your thoughts on all of this are. Next up, guys, interesting story I saw today. Can't quite get my head around what all of this means, but a refugee, this is on the BBC, refugee returned to Kiev due to state of UK home. A Ukrainian refugee returned to live in Kiev rather than staying in the accommodation she was offered in Swansea due to its conditions. Taisia, 35, returned to her war-torn home country for 21 days with her 7-month-old daughter, as it felt like a better option. But she has since returned to Wales and has thanked volunteers in the community who came to her rescue to help renovate the home, saying they are the reason she can now stay safe in Wales. Swansea Council said that kitchen and bathrooms had previously been upgraded, walls had been, okay, they're talking about the property now. Look, there well could be crappy properties that these refugees and asylum seekers are getting when they're in countries like the UK or wherever, like seeking asylum, seeking refuge, running away from a war-torn country. But it makes you think when they can so freely and easily return back to the so-called war-torn country because they feel like it's a better option, just because the living conditions that they're given in the UK or in Wales in this instance are so, bad, that they'll go back to the war-torn country for 21 days and then come back when it's better. If you can freely go back and forth between, your country, that you're fleeing for asylum or for refuge to the country that apparently is giving you that refuge, and that's not good enough for you, and you can go back, makes you question really the status of these refugees and asylum seekers. And I know this is a complicated issue, and I might be simplifying it, but these kind of stories really do make you think. Next up, guys, this is a story that I discussed a couple of days ago about Commonwealth Bank sending out letters to customers around, taking money out to put on crypto exchanges. And they were saying that, certain customer had received a letter saying that they had withdrawn the maximum amount for that month, which was $10,000 from their own personal account, their own money, $10,000. Commonwealth Bank had said, look, that's it. That's the limit for the month that you can take out to put into these exchanges. And I talked about how ridiculous I thought that was. Now I'm seeing more stories out there, especially now that there's a lot of movement in the crypto space. More Australians are now interested in maybe moving some of their own personal money into these exchanges and purchasing some of this crypto. And we're seeing more anecdotal accounts now of people. This individual here, City Lawyers, he's saying he is social credit already here. Anyone else with this experience? I have had 3 bank accounts frozen because I invested in cryptocurrency. When asked, can I use some of my clear funds, no debt, to buy bread, milk, or toys? The answer was no. Computer says no. That's $84,000 frozen for all purposes because CBA doesn't like crypto. I asked when the accounts would be unfrozen. No answer. So this is, I've seen a few more examples of this, and I think this is a concerning development in all of this, especially around the crypto space, when banks are becoming more and more invested with what you do with your own money. This is not even, like this guy said, clear funds. It's not debt. He's not taking from his credit line or anything like this. This is his personal fund, maybe from his wages or savings or whatever. And the bank is regulating now how you can use that money. It is quite ludicrous to think. And I would not be surprised if these institutions actually all get together and come up with some sort of, code of practice or code of conduct to actually make it very difficult for people to move their money into cryptocurrency exchanges. So it's definitely an area to watch. Anyway, guys, that's it for my news vlog today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're enjoying my work, you can subscribe to me on YouTube at The Real Rukshan. You can also find me on X, Instagram, Facebook, Rumble, Odyssey at The Real Rukshan, or at my website www.realrukshan.com. Thanks, guys. See you next time.